This is Nehemiah Gordon, and welcome to Hebrew Voices. The United States and the Caribbean just experienced one of the worst hurricanes in recorded history, Hurricane Irma. In the midst of this hurricane came a spontaneous and unexpected message of hope from three men in Florida who were each independently inspired to write the holy name of Yehovah in big letters on the boards and panels protecting their houses against the hurricane. When I saw this, I was deeply moved. For me, this was a physical expression of Bible verses such as Proverbs 18:10. The name of Yehovah is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and are safe. Exodus 20:24. In every place I cause my name to be mentioned, I will come to you and bless you. And Deuteronomy 6:9, the ending words of the Shema, which proclaim, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. I decided to talk to each of these three men and learn more about what inspired them to inscribe the name of Yehovah on their houses as this massive hurricane was coming their way. Today I have on the phone Mike Molinauer in Miami, Florida, and he just survived the Hurricane Irma, which came through his area, and he had sent me a photo of the boarded-up house that he's in. And on the front of the boarded-up house, I see it says twice YHVH, and then it has a 7-branch menorah. Shalom, Mike.
How you doing, man? How you guys doing? Shalom, shalom.
Hey, I'm doing really well. You know, a lot of people were really inspired and excited about what you did, writing the name of Yehovah on the front of your house in the face of this hurricane. Tell us a little bit about what inspired you to do that.
Well, about 5 years ago, the Father offered me his Torah, and I ran with it. And then through study and prayer, got to know his name, and, it was, a blessing to actually know that our Creator has a name, and it's supposed to be like part of our conversations, what we say, and how we say, and when we talk, because, all gods have names. And this was a time when we had this hurricane coming up, and they were saying it was big, and I had shutters, and I was like missing one area, was my sliding glass door. And I didn't have shutters set up for my sliding glass door, but I had shutters for other parts of the home. So what I did is that I made some adjustments and I cut some and everything. And I only had it up for, my house. And I was like, you know what? I don't have it for the back sliding glass door, but I have it for the house. But I'm just going to pray the Almighty's name on there because it's in his hands right now.
So for those of us who aren't from Florida, and I've never been in a hurricane in my life, I've been pretty close to a tornado in both Illinois and Texas, but never in a hurricane. So when you say you have shutters, so I'm looking at the photo here, and is that something that's like a permanent thing on your house that you just like close that shut? Or is that something where you took like a nail and hammer and like hammered that in?
Some people put wood. I have the normal metal shutters.
Right. So when you say you have those shutters, I mean, those aren't up 364 days a year, right?
No. Those come on and off.
Okay.
So when hurricane comes around, you just put them on and bolt them in, and then it's like plug and go.
You bolt them in with like a screwdriver or something?
Yeah, it's like a screw. It's kind of like a plug and go, but with shutters.
There's a slot throughout the year, and when a hurricane comes, you can then take these and then just screw it into the slot.
And you're good to go.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. And so, like, how often have you done this where you've put up these shutters?
Oh, I've been here since the 80s, early 80s, so you could say 30 years. I put shutters up in front of my home and everything, but it's the first time I put them up and put the Almighty's name on it.
And so what inspired you to put the Almighty's name on it, right? In other words, you say 5 years ago God called you to the Torah. What were you before that?
Before Torah, I guess you could say agnostic.
Oh, really?
My mother just took us to church and everything, but regarding of like opening up the Bible and everything, she didn't really do that. She just took us to church. And so, I guess you could say like a prophet say he calls his people out of the nation. So he called me from the nation.
Okay. And so what inspired you to put the name of Yehovah and the menorah up on your shutters?
Yeah, I was missing my back sliding glass door, and I was like, you know what, there's nothing I could do right now. So, it's the Almighty's name. It's in his hands. So the ones that I have covered, I'm going to put his name on it, and then I'll figure out something for the back sliding glass door. And then on Friday, something came up. Like in the morning, it hit me in the head. I had a bunch of spare shutters and everything, but they were too small for my sliding glass door, but I had a bunch of them. So what I did, I just took two of them and put two of them together and measured it, and then made my shutters. In a couple hours, had the metal and then drilled the holes, and it was like, boom. And then the whole house got covered.
It was boom. I like that. So from what you're telling me, it sounds like writing Yehovah, Yud-He-Vav-He, or in English, YHVH, was for you, in a sense, a sort of prayer that you were putting on your shutters.
I guess you could say, protection. His name is a strong tower,
Amen.
and
Proverbs 18:10. The name of Yehovah is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and are safe.
Yeah, and so I was like, it's in his hands. It's it's in his hands. It's his hurricane anyway. So I can't really, I can't really it's like, this is your hurricane. This is your doing this. I'm just going to put your name on it right here. And it's like, and hope for the best. And I guess she gave me the idea in the morning and everything. Is like, Mike, do this. And boom, my backsliding glass door. So the whole house got secured in his name.
That's pretty cool. Now, I do want to bring this up because some people, we shared this on Facebook and a lot of people were really inspired by it and liked it. But there's always some detractors on the internet. And there were some people who were saying, writing God's name on the house in the face of the hurricane, it's almost like magic. Like it was an amulet that would magically protect your house. But from what you're telling me, it's not magic. This was actually a prayer. In other words, you wrote the name and you were hoping that Yehovah would protect you, but you didn't think that this is automatically going to, the name's on it. Now it's going to be automatically protected. In other words, it's not the name on the shutters that protects you. It's the creator of the universe who has that name that does the protection.
Exactly.
That's beautiful.
Exactly. Well, I guess, for people like that, what I mean? Not to say like that, I guess they're just a little bit uneducated or a little bit immature. You know what I mean? It's like, this is the Almighty's name. Just like in Exodus, when we beat the Amalekites, the Almighty's like, put my banner up and everything. Lift my hand up. It's just like, put his name over there so everybody knows. He brought us out of Egypt to let everybody know he has a name. And it's just like, put his name right over there. So when people walk by or read by or see by and everything, they want to know that, well, you're looking at the one true God,
wow.
Out of all of them. There it is.
I have a question, which might be a silly question. So I've never been in a hurricane, never seen this kind of shutter situation. Are people regularly writing things on these shutters? In other words, do you drive down the street and one guy has Jesus saves, another guy has Allah is the greatest?
No, it's pretty much blank.
Really?
It's pretty much blank. I literally could say in the culture is a little bit common thing. It's like, when hurricane season comes around, all right, let's go. Everybody has to board up, close shutters, this and that, this and that, this and that. It's not like, one-time thing. So people usually don't put no words up. It is close them up and board them up. I just like, I'm going to put my name on it.
Gotcha. I love that you took this opportunity, facing this, what was described as one of the worst hurricanes or was expected to be at least the worst hurricanes in history in that area. And you took that opportunity to express your love and devotion to the Father, to Yehovah, and to his holy name. I'm really inspired by that. That's really, it's such a powerful thing. And that several people independently all came up with this idea really inspires me. It's exciting to me. Any final words?
Yeah, the good news is that I guess you could say the most powerful hurricane and this and that and this and that and this and that. However, pretty much 90% or 80% of the hurricane, me and my neighbors were outside playing and my kids were. And everybody was just watching the hurricane in 3D. Because it was just big winds and light rain.
Meaning, like you were actually outside.
People were just on their porch. The kids came out, went in the water. People went a little bit towards. You get wet and everything. And we just look at all that. So an opportunity of this crazy hurricane in this area, we got to see the hurricane in 3D.
Gotcha. Was there any damage to your house or to your neighbors' houses?
I need a new fence, but no major damage. Nothing to sound an alarm. There's a bunch of trees down and a bunch of leaves, and that's about it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mike. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
I'm on the phone now with Jeffrey Manresa in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Shalom, Jeffrey.
Shalom, Nehemiah Gordon.
Jeffrey, you had sent me a photo of the name of Yehovah in Hebrew with the full vowels on a board that was protecting a little sort of like window on your door as part of the protections against Hurricane Irma. So tell us, what inspired you to write the name of God in Hebrew? In other words, you had this board on your door to begin with, and it didn't have God's name in it. What inspired you to add God's name on this protective board as Irma was coming?
Well, we had taken a drive around the neighborhood, and I saw lots of people were writing messages on their boards.
What kind of messages did you see?
Somebody had a message saying, help each other.
Oh.
Other ones said, we're open. And
we're open, like a store or something? Or
stores around town.
Okay.
Yeah, just messages. And it was kind of the last thing that I had already put in all the boards on the house. And so I put the last board over my door. And I had just listened to your podcast a couple of days previous about the 9/11 with the gentleman, I think he was a police officer, and he was telling the story, and I was moved to tears listening to the story. It was just a very emotional story.
Right, that was called Heroes of 9/11, and I interviewed Detective David Brink. I'd actually told this story 5 years ago in my book, Shattering the Conspiracy of Silence, that I finally got to meet him face-to-face and have him tell his story, how he ran into this church after the buildings collapsed to wash poison stuff out of his eyes. He used the holy water in the church, and right there at the front of the church, in front of the holy water fountain, it says Yehovah in Hebrew. Amazing. And so you decide based on that, hey, I'm going to write Yehovah in my house.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I said, it just seemed, it just came to me, and I had a Sharpie marker, and I was just moved, by the Spirit to do it. And I just find the name just such a beautiful, just to look at it is just so beautiful. And it's a strong tower, so it seemed fitting.
Yeah, that is awesome. Now, we shared this on Facebook, and it really inspired a lot of people. So I want to thank you for that. It really blessed a lot of people to see that.
Well, we want to thank you because we read your book, Shattering the Conspiracy, and we've heard so many of the testimonies from Michael Rood to just so many testimonies, and we have been so moved by this understanding and this revelation of his name. So we want to thank you.
You know what really touches me, Jeffrey? That I could be, sitting in this windowless room in Jerusalem in an office, and I discover something, and then someone 6,000 miles away, 16 years later, is facing this devastating hurricane and has now internalized that message and says, okay, I'm going to put this on what says in Exodus, every place I cause my name to be mentioned, I will come to you and bless you. And then you decide, you know what? This isn't a magic talisman. It's not, an amulet, but I can write Yehovah's name and maybe he'll come and bless this place. To me, that's so moving and exciting.
Praise Yehovah. It is
Amen.
moving. He is alive and he is breathing through us, and we are a testimony to that, and I'm just as excited as you.
So I got a little bit of a follow-up from you, and that's why I decided to call you. So there were some trees that came down. Tell us about what damage was caused and what damage wasn't caused. What happened in your area and to you?
Well, I'm going to follow up by sending you some pictures because I haven't gotten around to that yet, but we have a tree that's literally growing out of the corner of our house, and it hangs right over our bedroom. Ooh. And it was just destroyed, basically, this tree. Most of the branches were just torn off of it.
By the hurricane, right? That's what we're talking about.
Well, either that or by a tornado, because that was another thing I wanted to mention, is that we heard some really strange noises, and we couldn't figure out what they were. And then we got an alert on our phone saying that there were tornadoes. So
what? Wait, now these tornadoes that were triggered by the hurricane, they're not completely unrelated events, right?
Yeah, these were created by the Hurricane Irma.
Okay. So it's some effect of Irma that then creates also hurricanes. Wow, I didn't realize that. Okay, so this destroyed your bedroom, right?
No.
Our
house was untouched.
What?
It's a miracle.
That is a miracle. Hallelujah.
Praise Yehovah.
Oh, wow. Praise Yehovah. Wow. So the tree came down, or parts of the tree came down. It was hanging over your bedroom. It didn't come down into your house?
No, it didn't do any damage to our house.
That is amazing to me. That's pretty cool that you then were somehow moved, to write his name and the tree didn't come crashing down. That's amazing.
Yeah, our town was, we had some really strong winds and we had tornadoes, and it was pretty daunting. I've been here in Fort Lauderdale since 1969.
That's before I was born.
We were here for Wilma. Wilma was pretty devastating, but this hurricane was pretty daunting, seeing it on the satellite picture, how large it was and the unpredictability of it. And we couldn't get water, we couldn't get gas, so we got our boards at the last minute. Everybody was sort of in a frenzy, and we managed to get the boards on at the last minute.
We're now a couple days after the hurricane. Are you completely up and running now? Everything's back to normal?
Well, praise Yehovah, our neighbors have electricity, so we're sharing their electricity.
You don't have electricity in your house? You're siphoning off the neighbors?
Yeah, we lost power Friday night, and we've been without power since Friday night.
Wow. Is that because the tree came down and hit the lines?
We heard a transformer explode in the backyard.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure what happened, but it blew like Friday night, and our FPL is overwhelmed with calls and work.
Your FPL, what is that?
Florida Power and Light.
Okay, so they know about the problem. They just haven't, they're like, you know what? You're getting electricity from a cable from the neighbors. You're not high on the priority list. Okay. And then you also mentioned to me your internet's down. Like, that's actually worse than not having electricity. How are you alive if there's no internet?
Well, yeah, we're going crazy without our internet, but... And
you mentioned to me you actually work on the internet, so you're basically treading water right now as far as your job is concerned, right?
Yeah, I have a forced vacation right now.
Okay, forced vacation. That's a very optimistic way of looking at it. Well, praise Yehovah, nobody was hurt, and that your house wasn't damaged. That's kind of the main thing. You can replace things. We can't bring back lives, but even your house wasn't damaged. What a blessing. I look at this thing you sent me with the Hebrew, and what I love is that the cholam, the little O above the hay and the vav, there's like a natural knot in the tree there. And I can't even see if you put it the Owen with the magic marker, or are you relying on the tree?
No, the funny thing is I forgot that dot.
Oh,
and I meant
so Yehovah provided the dot? Are you kidding me?
I meant to go put that dot back on, and I never got around to doing it. And then when I took the picture, I realized that dot was there.
Yehovah provided his own olam, his own dot. Hallelujah! This is amazing. I didn't see that one coming. Woo! Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing this information and that photo. May Yehovah continue to bless you and your family and restore your internet and allow you to go back to work and get you back your electricity. Shalom.
Shalom, Nehemiah Gordon.
I have on the phone Jonathan Logan from Palm Bay, Florida. Shalom, Jonathan.
Shalom, my friend.
Jonathan, you had sent me this photo of you boarding up your house against Hurricane Irma, and you wrote on one of the boards, or one of the shutters there, Proverbs 18:10. The other, you wrote YHVH, the name of Yehovah. And you wrote actually in English, but that's God's Hebrew name, Yehovah. I was really excited about that, and a lot of other people were excited about it. It had over 1,100 likes on Facebook, over 320 shares. We were just talking before we started the conversation how we're famous, but I think no one will remember our names, but they'll remember Yehovah's name, and that's what makes me excited about this. So what inspired you to write Yehovah on the boards that are protecting your house against the hurricane?
Well, the particular post that you had posted that I had commented on was about the 9/11 and how, I want to say, the Church of the Four Nations, how they had put the name on there.
It's actually called St. Paul's Chapel in Manhattan, and it has Yehovah there twice at the front of the church.
Yes. And now I saw that teaching before of yours a while back, and while I was putting up the shutters on my home, and I've known that scripture for a long time, but to hear you apply it.
And the scripture is Proverbs 18:10. Can I read it in Hebrew and then you give us the English translation? So Proverbs 18:10, it says, Migdal Oz Shem Yehovah, Bo Yarutz Sadik V'Niskav. And in English?
It is. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run into it, and they are safe.
And in the Hebrew, it's not the name of the Lord, because it's Lord in all caps. It's actually
no, absolutely
Shem Yehovah,
not.
the name of Yehovah. All right. So you knew about this verse for a while.
And to watch you in your video, your teaching, apply it in everyday life, I said, well, how spectacular. If you're ever going to apply it to everyday living, that would be the way. And I was in my garage cutting up wood, and I said, when I got done hanging them up, I said, I got spray paint. Let me put that on there. Let me put this verse and actually put his name, because I know King Jimmy messed that up. And I kid you not, Nehemiah, just the God's honest truth, when I was walking out to go do it, I was fighting back tears. It's hard for me to even talk about it. I feel the Lord talking about it. And when I had gotten done doing it, I walked back from the house and I was like, this is a seal, 100%. No question about it. We're going to sink or swim on God's word, and he's faithful. So it was a seal. It was 100%.
What do you mean it's a seal?
By placing that name, that house was sealed. It could not be destroyed. That hedge of protection from the Lord's name, Yehovah's name, being on the house, that was it. That's his property at that point.
I want to challenge you a little bit on that, because I had some people respond and they said, well, his name isn't a magic talisman. It's not a rabbit's foot. In other words, and I think you'd probably agree, right? It's not writing those letters that protected. He's the one who protects it. Writing his name isn't what protects it.
100%.
Okay, we're in agreement. I saw this and I was moved to tears, because from the time I'm the littlest kid you can imagine, from the first things I learned to recite in Hebrew, in any language, the first prayer I ever learned was the Shema. And in the Shema, twice you have the phrase, my Bible's not even open, I know it by heart, Uchtavtam am mezuzot beitecha uv'bisharecha, and you shall write them upon the doorposts of your house and upon your gates. And here I am seeing some man in Florida are you Jewish, Jonathan? Are you of Jewish heritage?
No, I am actually Covenant Apostolic. That's basically a Pentecostal who's come out of Christianity and has found his Hebrew roots.
Some man who's not even Jewish. He loves the God of Israel so much, and he's fulfilling these words, and you shall write them upon, and it's talking about the words of the Torah, you shall write them upon the doorposts of your house and upon your gates. And you're facing this hurricane that's being described as the worst hurricane in that area ever in history, right? It's now proof of global warming, according to some fanatics, right? I mean, this is it. It's the worst that's ever happened. And you write the name Yehovah along with the verse, Proverbs 18:10, on those wooden panels that are protecting your house. I was so inspired and moved by that. Now tell us a little bit about your religious background. Where are you coming from?
Well, grew up Pentecostal, but then started to see the flaws with Christianity. As a friend of yours, Michael Rood, started to watch some of his videos a while back, 4 or 5 years ago. And just some things that were said that challenged me to search and to actually start seeing the Sabbath, and just that Christianity likes to do away with the law. Just, it's a flaw. It's a flaw in Christianity, and I've exited out of that, and I have found I hate to call it an organization, but brethren with like-minded who have come out of that same system and are getting back to our mother, Jerusalem. So,
okay. What's your organization called?
It's the CACI. It's Covenant Apostolic Congregations International. It's basically Christians getting back to the feasts, Sabbath.
Gotcha. Okay, very cool. So you've written his name on your house. So your house was destroyed by the hurricane, right?
Absolutely not. I had the mezuzah on there before that, but I had 4 panels over my living room window, and I said, this is money. 1 for each letter.
Wait, what does that mean, this is money? You lost that note.
And again, Nehemiah, to agree with with you, and I know it's not a magical thing.
Yeah.
But I also believe, like Noah, hey, this is coming.
Yeah.
Do your part. I've got the rest.
Right. And I think the magical thinking is that, I write these words or I write these letters, and it's these letters that protect my house. The letters don't protect the house. Yehovah protects the house.
Amen.
And maybe Yehovah sees that. We can pray that Yehovah sees that the way he saw the blood on the lintel and on the doorposts of the people in Egypt, and he honors that. And does he automatically honor it? No, that's up to him. It's not magic, right? It's not the letters that protect. It's him who protects. So let me ask you a different question. In your area, when you drive around your area, do you see other people writing Bible verses on their shutters and things like that? Is there like John 3:16? And
I'm the only guy I've seen in my city.
I'm glad I asked you that, because somebody asked me this question. A friend from Israel asked me, so, where'd they get this idea? And I said, well, they probably saw people writing Bible verses. And so they decided to write a Hebrew Bible verse. And you're the third person I've now spoken to have said, nope, this is just not what's done. And so the fact that 3 of you independently have now come up with the idea, and you wrote the same name on all 3. And this is so inspired and exciting to me. This is amazing.
I kid you not, Nehemiah, when I got done with doing it and I went to go take a picture, I'm walking out, I'm trying to get my phone and I'm trying to turn it sideways, get ready to take the picture. And I kid you not, listen, I've been in the presence of God. I know when he shows up. And I was about to fall in tears and yet run around my lawn like a madman praising God. You could feel it that strong. And that's why I say faith without works is dead. I could sit here and believe all I want, but if I don't put some work behind that, and I did my part and God honored it, and I could feel it. That was confirmation.
Wow.
I could feel on that lawn. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Well, thank you for sharing this, Jonathan, and for proclaiming his name and making his name famous now. May the whole world know the name of Yehovah.
Yes.
Can I get an amen, Jonathan?
Amen.
You have been listening to Hebrew Voices with Nehemiah Gordon. Thank you for supporting Nehemiah's McCore Hebrew Foundation. Learn more at nehemiahswall.com.